So, a trust is an interesting document because, you can have a revocable or an irrevocable trust. Revocable is a living trust. It's something that we operate in while you're alive. It's where you can put your assets into that trust. You can have trust accounts. You've heard of trust fund baby, right? You can operate with a trust while people are alive with their estate. And then once you pass away, those assets are essentially divvied out to your descendants, right? To your heirs, whoever you wished. An irrevocable trust operates a bit more like a will, right? Irrevocable means you can't take it back. Once you state what's going to happen in this trust, no changing your mind, right? And your assets go into that trust. Sometimes they don't actually go into the trust until after you've passed away, but then they follow the rules of that trust after you've passed. They go to your heirs. Here's the thing. It's extremely important regardless of how you set up that trust, whether it's living or whether it's irrevocable. You still have to set up a will because trust law is constantly changing, right? What if you set up a trust and, like many people, you don't keep your estate plan updated and some clause in that trust fails, right? What if you set up a trust but you don't stay on top of your assets and you don't continue to move your assets into your trust accounts or deed your property into the trust, right? If that's the case, you have assets that don't exist in your estate. They are still in your personal name. You need a will to cover that, to have those assets doing what you want to happen after you pass away, essentially. But here's the interesting thing. If you have set up your estate to act in a trust capacity, in a trust umbrella, the will you would set up is what's called a pour-over will. A pour-over will is a will that essentially pours all of your assets back into a trust. And what it says is a couple of different things. One, it says, if there are any assets that I forgot to put into that trust, pour them right into that trust. Okay? So if my trust is still valid, and there was a checking account, there was an asset, there was a piece of real estate, put it right into that trust and follow those rules. The second thing it says is if my trust fails for any reason, set up a trust identical to that previous trust and pour everything into that trust, right? And then the third thing it says is if those two things fail, I want this will to follow the terms of that trust, even if we have to go through probate, as closely as possible, right? I want all of my heirs to get my assets the same way I had it set up there. So it's still a will, but we want it to follow the terms of your trust as closely as humanly possible.